Hello, I'm Dr. Charles Raison. People that know me call me Chuck. I'm a psychiatrist by training, and today I'm talking to you as the Director of Research on Spiritual Health for Emory Healthcare. I've been asked to give just a quick little talk about my thoughts about fear, and I'm happy to report that I am, in fact, really an expert for speaking to this because I'm scared. I've been having a lot of fear about the current situation with the coronavirus pandemic. And so I think I have a certain authority to talk about it. So let's do that. Well, fear is an unpleasant emotion. None of us like it, and yet, in the current situation, the first thing I want to say about fear is that it is really quite normal. Um, we should be afraid. There are many frightening aspects to what's going on right now. So, if you like me, you are struggling with fear. The first thing to know is you're right. It's normal to do that. Now, having said that, we don't want fear to escalate to the point where it becomes counterproductive, and it becomes counterproductive when it causes us to be frozen, to be unable to act, to experience so much unnecessary emotional pain um, that we really get hamstrung. So, how do we balance the fact that it's normal to be fearful with the importance of not letting the fear cripple us? And there's a number of ways for doing this. But the other night I was with the kids and I was watching Frozen 2, on the video. And that movie had something that really struck me that I think is a really good advice for the current times, which is do the next right thing. Because what one of the things that fear does is it often makes us look down the road at very, very long pictures of things. We begin to feel overwhelmed. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's normal to do that, but it's important to check ourselves when we do it. And let's remind ourselves that in fact, things are changing so rapidly and there's so much still that's unknown that we don't know what the situation is going to be 2 weeks from now. We don't know what the situation is going to be 1 week from now. This is part of what's so scary. But the implication of that is we really do best to do the next right thing. If we focus on the things in our lives that we can do now and be proactive about, that is one way to really help cope with fear. So, for me, for instance, I found that it is really helpful for my mental health, but just for me in general, to continue to do my work. I'm fortunate I can do that, and I hope many of you have that same opportunity, even if the work is challenging. But doing our work now and doing it with dedication and intelligence is the best way to be ready for picking things back up again when the pandemic has passed. There are other ways I think that we can do the next right thing. So one of the things that has struck me so powerfully about the current situation um, is that it's allowed me to see in ways I think that I hadn't been so aware of what the next right thing is in terms of things that are important to me. And I think, like many of us, I've begun to realize that my personal relationships, the people I love, the people I care about, the people I work with, are far more important to me and far more integral to who I am than I had ever realized before. So I think recognizing that and realizing that um, the gift of appreciating others and appreciating the life we have is a backhanded blessing from the pandemic. Certainly, we wouldn't want the pandemic just to have that experience, but the pandemic is here. And recognizing that, I think, is important. And then on a societal level, I think there's a very, very clear message here, which is this. I've spent years as a researcher looking at human interactions with bacteria and viruses and how they impact our mental health. And it's clear now that our relationship with things like bacteria and viruses, with the world of infectious agents, pathogens, extends far beyond just thinking about drugs and thinking about vaccines. Really, these things need to be understood in a broader context, which is that we live in a highly interconnected world. And as we get more interconnected with each other through virtual technologies, through travel, through trade, we need to be more proactive and more dedicated to managing our relationships with the world of pathogens that are in us, around us, and that travel with us. So, as a society, one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves and our children will be to commit more resources, far more resources, to developing strategies for being ready for the next one of these pandemics so that when again we are forced to confront something like this, we won't be scrambling. As a society, as individuals, as a culture, we'll be better prepared to meet it head on. So again, I'm Chuck Raison, and like you know, probably I'm talking to you about fear because I'm struggling with it. Um, but I truly hope that we've talked about today can be of some help. Stay well. Keep us in your prayers and thoughts, and we'll do the same thing.